It might have not been the smartest idea. Welcome to Ellie and Lucas. Today we're going to talk about some things that Americans assume about Germans, and so we're going to actually have a little fun with this and compare what we thought before we came to Germany and with what we actually found out after living here for a bit. So you'll get to see if our original thoughts were right or wrong. Today, I am taking some time to enjoy some Mövenpick cappuccino ice cream, because why not? And because I'm really proud of us. Today, we got to have an interview with a lady from the WLLll magazine or newspaper. I don't know. It will be the online edition. So we are just super excited because this is like our first public appearance kind of, I guess.
Our first professional-esque interview and stuff about our channel and exposure to a broader range.
It meant so much to us. So with that being said, keep us on the way to 2,000 subscribers. That is our goal for the end of this year. When we were living in the US, one of the first things we thought about Germans is that they were super hardworking. Germany is known for a lot of its companies, like Siemens, for example. Evonik is another one, and they just are known for having high quality products, like windows, and I don't know, I could go on. But the Germans are pretty known for that, so we thought that they would also work a lot. And we kind of have the feeling in the US right now that a lot of people work even on the weekends. So a lot of people work overtime in the States and things are always running. And we kind of thought that would be the same here. We were wrong about the second part, but the first part we were right about. Germans do have a lot of quality products and they put a lot of hard work into things. But what we were wrong about is they also take their free time. So a lot of Germans really value their time on the weekends, or Sunday, for example, is Ruhetag, or there's no stores are open, so a lot of people stay home.
Another thing, and this especially goes for me, is that when we were moving to Germany, I assumed that a lot of Germans would be able to speak English, to the level of, I guess, if you go to a tourist type city in Europe, so Paris, right, or any of those bigger cities that you think of, Berlin, you just assume that they can speak English because it's kind of an international language. And that's both true and false, because all the kids are taught English, and many 20 to 40-year-old adults in Germany also can speak fairly good English. But a lot of them also, especially the adults, having not had a lot of exposure to English and just working in the German workforce, of course they started to forget their English. So a lot of them either don't feel comfortable speaking English anymore, or are just simply unwilling, or just don't remember English. So that was something that I was wrong about, at least partially assuming that everyone would be able to speak English.
Another thing we kind of assumed was that Germans would be open and friendly. Some of the other experiences I had were in Marburg in Germany, and in Leipzig, and in Berlin, where I lived there for at most about 6 months. So yeah, I didn't really have a deep cultural sense of the Germans. I knew the small town Germans from my Marburg trip. And so we just kind of assumed that they would be as open, as friendly as people are in the US. And typically people in the US are described as a peach. So the outside is super soft and the inside is a hard nut. And so it's works harder to get to the inside. And Germans are described as a coconut. So it's very hard on the outside, but soft on the inside, so you have to work hard to get their real trust and friendship. And this wasn't really something I understood until maybe a few years ago after living here in Essen. I can really see that is how the Germans operate. It's harder for me because I definitely tend to be more friendly and open, and I don't expect that, but on the other hand, it's nice. So that is something that we thought that isn't true. But nevertheless, Germans are still very nice. And they say that once you've made a friend with the German, you're kind of friends for life, and they'll help you out with anything. And I really do honestly have that feeling. Like, they've got your back for, like, anything.
At least for us, we assume that like Germans use public transportation very often. And I think this is a common assumption for Americans when they think of any European country, because many European countries do have great public transportation. And this one I was correct with. Not even like a little correct. I'm just correct. A lot of Germans won't even own like cars and automobiles, especially if they live in bigger cities like Essen or Frankfurt or Berlin. There is more than enough public transport like buses and trains to get around the bigger cities. And if you have to just move from, like jump from Essen to Dusseldorf or Köln, the major trains go to all those places. So there's next to no reason to need a car in those situations. Now for us, like having a car is great when we want to travel to those more inconspicuous places, the places that are off like the beaten track, like smaller villages where a lot of castles are and stuff like that. Those, there's definitely not really any great public transportation to get to.
Because it's not like direct. You'd have to like stop and get off and wait for a transfer. And like with all your delays, it would take like, for example, we got the car because when I was doing student teaching, it took me an hour and a half to get to my school each day and an hour and a half to come home. Whereas a car, it took 30 minutes. So you can kind of see the difference.
My other assumption that I had for a long time, and this kind of relates to Europe in general, but also for those reasons Germany, is that I always kind of thought that Germany and Europe had bad internet. And I don't really know why I thought that. I just always thought that America had a better like internet infrastructure. And yeah, I can't really explain why. That's what I always thought. But I was very happily, because I'm a big computer person, surprised when we moved to Germany, and actually now we get better internet for the same price as we used to get back in America. So like now we get like 100 megabytes per second download speeds, where in America we'd get at best, like this was the good deal, was 30 megabytes per second. That's like over 3 times the value for the same price. So I was wrong, and they have good internet, and I love it.
However, the like opposite side of that, I'll tell you in a minute. The last thing we thought about Germans is that they would be adapted to technology. And like the US is like a developed country, and Germany is a developed country, and so we kind of thought like they'd have the same access to technology. So by technology here, I mean like, I don't know, smartphones and computers and Wi-Fi and stuff like that.
But more specifically, like technology integration.
Yeah. So like the integration of technology, we thought they would be super integrated. And I mean, we were partially right about that. So we found that like people here use smartphones all the time and typically have like computers or internet. Even like our old neighbors have computers in their
News to me.
elderly generation. Sorry. Anyways, yes, they do. The place that this really makes a huge difference, their adaptation to technology, is in the schools. All of my school experiences here, and I've had 3, I mean more like public like K through 12 schools, or K through 13, or however it is here, schools, don't have quality technology, which I think is really important for education. And then when we get the smart boards, and that's even better. But like I have yet to see a school here with a smart board. Like I believe they do exist. I just think they're quite rare. On top of that, schools also don't have like a super good Wi-Fi thing, and people still use like the overheads where you have like the light box and it projects something on the screen that's on this clear sheet.
I think maybe, and you can all like comment about this, maybe I think Germany likes to use like what's not broken basically until it is. Yeah. So like in the US, you could probably say the US like loves constantly modernizing yes, but the US like loves to continually be modern. When there's new technology, everyone in the US wants it, which includes schools and government buildings. Like everyone wants to use the latest and greatest things. So much so that latest and greatest is like a common term in the US. But I don't think Germany's necessarily like that. Why would a Reva get self-checkout registers when it's been doing fine the way it's been for the last 20 years? Like, I mean, I understand that, but it's just...
We're more
very
thrilled.
different for us.
Yeah, I feel like Americans get more thrilled about like new technology devices, but maybe that's something I don't completely understand.
So yeah, those are our 6 assumptions that we had about Germany before living here for almost 3 years. If you like this video, make sure to click the thumbs up button below. Leave a comment with any of your thoughts. We always love to read like your guys' opinion about our videos. We'd love to know what assumptions you have about the US, and maybe we can even take a stab at it from the other perspective, like from German society to the US.
Like that we always eat fast food.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Try to put ourselves under the microscope. Okay, there's a hungry cat about to attack our table. We will see you next week, and as soon as we have links to that interview we did today, we will let you all know. So keep your eyes out. So keep a lookout on our Instagram and YouTube, Facebook, and if you're a patron, definitely look on Patreon and consider supporting us there as well.
Mm-hmm. We will see you next week. Mark. Since I'm just gonna stop rambling. Hello. I'm sorry, I'm losing my English.